All right. Hello, everybody. So today I'm going to create a video um, to basically analyze a potential flip deal. And we're just going to start from scratch. And this is not scripted. I really don't have anything prepared. Um, so we're just going to kind of go through it. I think it'll actually be more helpful for you. That way you can kind of see the logic um, going all the way through. This is for a potential property that I want to investigate in, and um, I've never seen it in person yet. So what I'm doing is I'm going to prepare all the figures, and that way when I actually go to look at it or I'm chatting with the agent, I have a foundation of where I can really come in at. Because if I run the numbers and they're asking for 100,000 and my minimum is one, it's just the numbers aren't there, then it's kind of pointless to be aggressive on it or even go look at it. So this is probably a good first step. And then just to do some initial numbers and then chat with the agent and and then go look at it. It does take a lot of time to drive to the properties, so anything you can do on your computer first and to vet it out is probably the best thing. Okay, so we're gonna start this off by uh, I was looking for properties that were um, let me shut some of this stuff down. I was looking for some properties through the MLS, just because there hasn't been a lot of other good sources lately. Unfortunately, we are going to do the comps through the MLS. So if you don't have MLS access, this might be a little bit harder for you to do. If you don't have MLS access and you are serious about being a real estate investor, I would strongly suggest attempting to get access somehow. Now, I was doing this without it for about 2 years. And now that I do have access, I literally became a real estate agent just to get access. Um, it was kind of like a large workaround. If you can somehow find a friend or a family member that has MLS access in your county that you're looking at, that's the easiest way to do it, is just get their login. Now, again, they probably won't want to do that because it's technically illegal. They're not supposed to share their login information, but some people do. Okay, so we're going to log in, and probably shouldn't even record some of this information. It might be a security risk, but oh well. You now have my login ID. Uh-oh, all right, well, someone's going to hack my account. Okay. All right, so let's see. We're gonna go into Matrix, and there's a lot of different searches that you can do to try to find your properties. That's actually not what this video is about. This video, I had already located a property that I had in mind, and we're just doing the numbers today. We could do a separate video on um, like different types of searches and strategies that way. And I'll even write that down. Maybe we could. I need to start making some more videos here. All right. So let me find the property that I was talking about first. And like I said, this video is, it's going to be rough around the edges, but I think in the end, if you stay through with it, you will learn a lot. Or, yeah, you'll learn a lot. All right, so I live in Hillsboro. I don't actually have the address. I didn't write it down, so I'm just going to re-find it. I live in Hillsboro, and this was a single-family home. And This is kind of a cool feature. You can actually sort by dollar per square foot. So I know that the property was less than $100 per square foot, and you want to buy cheap. So I mean, that's a really good criteria. You can see that cut it down from what, 3,000 to 100 properties. So if I take this out, yeah, it cut it down from 3,100 matches to 100. So I mean, if you're doing a flip, I mean, there's got to be a big spread. You know, I mean, it's tough. I know that there's different levels of flippers. I mean, there's people who do buy nice properties in South Tampa and, you know, put 100 grand and then sell for like 400, 500,000. That is kind of a different level. Maybe it's just a different level than I'm at. It seems too risky to me. It seems like very high end. And you know, like I don't know, those properties can come down. It's almost like rolling the dice a little bit. I mean, if you're off just a little bit on the comps, or you know, something happens like COVID-19. I mean, anything can happen. But my target is just bread and butter. Something like a 2-2 or a 3-2 or a 4-2 or a 3-1. Anything with like 3 bedrooms, 3-2 ideally. Just low. When it's all said and done, maybe acquire at like 100 grand, put like 30, 40 grand into it and sell it like around 190 or 200 or something like that. And if you can hit that 200K, if you can list it for like 200,000, I mean, there's just a lot of people in that price range. You know, like there's a lot of FHA buyers that just need this like little starter home for their family. And for me, it's just less risky on all sides. So that's where I'm at. That's what I look for. I've also talked to other investors, and that's kind of what they do too. But I mean, hey, there's a million different strategies, so don't just take my word for it. You might have a totally different strategy. All right, so this property happened to be kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it was kind of a cool deal. Here it is. So maybe I shouldn't release this video until I've got a signed offer on this one. So the way I found this one was with the dollar per square foot. I just kind of walked around. We are going to create a new Excel sheet. I use Google Sheets for everything. I would suggest it for you too. Not even just real estate, just almost everything. Like sharing documents, Google Sheets and Google Drive is the absolute bomb. Microsoft is not keeping up with what Google's doing. All right, so here we go. We're just going to start from scratch. I've done this like a million times. So I'm just going to do this by remembrance. There's a lot of different ways that people do this. I like to just do it a very simple way. And we're just going to go through that right now. So let me see here. All right. So basically, we're going to start filling out some information. And there's templates for this, and they're all different because everyone's got a different strategy on how to do it. I probably even have this template out there somewhere, I'm sure. But I just figured I'm just going to do it from scratch because it's that easy. So let's just start putting in some data. All right. They are asking, so we'll do address, and maybe even after the video, I'll even put this template out there. Sorry, I don't have this all prepared. It probably would be better, but hey, I'm making a video and assessing a property at the same time, so why not? Might even learn some tricks in Google Sheet while I'm doing this. All right, they are asking for 115,000. So it's going to take a little bit longer than normal. Sorry for that, but all right, they're asking for 115,000. ADOM, 392 days. That is a long time. So this guy, I mean, shit, that's over a year. This guy, you know, I mean, if you make him a cash offer, they might come in a little, you know, lower. I would imagine lower than that 115. He's got to be desperate by now. My God, heated square feet. It's a big property. 2015 heated square feet. That's a lot. We're going to copy over this listing price. I like to see that. We're well below $100 per square foot. Usually, I mean, if you could, we're probably going to, I can already, just based on the location's kind of like out there. So, I mean, and it's a bigger house. We can go into a lot of detail about that, but essentially, uh, this is probably around $100 per square foot when we're all done, maybe even less, because the so as you can see here, South Tampa is really expensive. North Tampa, well, Northeast Tampa gets really poor. East Tampa poor. Southeast Tampa poor. Pinellas is very expensive generally. Well, it's all over the place actually. And then there's a ton of new builds happening in Riverview and also Sun City Center. It's kind of filling up. Brandon's got a mix of everything. Anyways, we're coming down here. This area, it's like sparse, but it's kind of coming around. I mean, there are a lot of people that sort of work at these like random little there's like truck drivers and like all types of like real manual labor people that live up in these areas, and I think for me this is further out than I would like to go, because generally I have to drive to the properties like at least 10 times, but I live in South Tampa. It's not too bad. I mean, I'll take Selman, come down 75. Yes, it's further away, but if I can maybe just visit 5 times, and my rehabbers live in East Tampa, so they can just hit up 75. It's not the worst, just because of the 75 highway here. There's really not too much out here. I would be nervous about flood potentially, but there's probably okay, it looks like this is blocked off, so I don't know. Restoration project. Interesting. That's actually probably a really nice area to walk around. Hillsborough Community College. Cockroach Bay. Who would name a bay Cockroach Bay? All right. I always like to see what's around here. I now, directly in this, it's like a tiny little neighborhood. Oh, there's tennis courts. That's kind of cool. So there's like this little strip of like tiny little area here. So there's like just a few houses in this neighborhood. I have not driven the neighborhood yet. It is probably a poorer neighborhood, which we can actually just kind of like look at. And you ask, well, what if there is no Google thing? And what I would say, if there's no Google thing, it's usually because it's an HOA gated community, or it's so out there that the Google bot or car or whatever hasn't gone out there. So in that case, if the Google hasn't even looked at it, I probably wouldn't even like check it out at all. Okay, so this is look how much that's changed. Okay, so we've got some mobile homes, which are definitely lower dollar per square foot. There's a lot of those. That's a mobile home. I can't tell if that's a mobile home. That looks like a solid foundation. That looks like a regular house across the street. I'm kind of just checking out the neighborhood. What year is this? 2000 image capture 2019. So it's actually not too far away. Looks like there's a lot of people living in there. Honestly, like, if you look around this neighborhood, to me, I mean, I haven't been there, but to me, it's like, it doesn't look, yeah, there's like nothing out here, but it looks like just hardworking lower people. Like, you've got trucks, boats, what's this? A little post office, just like a tiny little thing. This is just like a little neighborhood. you know, someone who might buy this is someone who's like they don't like they like the space. You see how there's a lot of RVs around here? It's like someone there are people who are willing to live a little bit out of the city, and you know they want to have their RV on their property. They want to have campfires in the back. They want to have a dog run around or a few animals, you know, and not be bothered by the city for having a chicken or something. So I wonder if this is the same color. What? 3407. That's a different address. That's very strange. It's like the same exact color as this house. Must be a different house though. Okay, so here's our target property. We're going to do the comps, but also this is just an initial analysis. I don't even see shingles on here. So it looks like that's like a tar roof or something. Those are like the 10-year roofs. So that's a problem. Although I do see I don't know what's going on with that roof. I don't see shingles. But I do see shingles here. Oh, maybe it's just the image. Maybe the car was moving. I think you can see shingles. I think there are shingles. It's hard to tell. Blanket. That's odd. AC unit. All right. So, there's a couple things we need to do here. We've got to figure out the comps. We've got to figure out. We're probably just gonna do this manually. We've got to look up. One of the first things I like to do is really see what we're working with here, and what does the county think that this is? Okay, so you're gonna go to your local. Depending on the county that you live in, these are all going to be different for every single county you go to. And the searches, you know, government, they don't do anything very well, especially technology. They're always 10, 15 years behind in technology. Hillsborough County website's been pretty good. They upgraded their website recently, but these websites usually suck. So you have to, like, if there's west or east, they negate all that. So you're going to have to play with it and just try to find your property. Because it's important. You want to know what the county thinks it is. How big does the county think it is? Does it even match the record? Who's the owner? You know, okay, Brazil LLC. Well, he paid $225 in 2008. So he's underwater. Big. Some guy in Orlando. Unless that mailing address is just one of those remote mailing addresses. Let's see. Bronco Stucco. Okay, so he lied about the mailing address. Or he just owns that company. Who knows? He's having his mail delivered there. All right. We've got a market value of 128. Taxable 126, 0 exemptions. So the remote owner paid a lot in 2008. Let's see who bought it. Let's see if this comes up. Okay, nothing that important there. I just sometimes you kind of want to just read over the sale, just kind of. All right, so we've got a 1940. We're gonna start. Actually, do you know what we'll do is we'll start transferring some of this information over. Oops, I don't know what that was. All right, so it's built in 1940, and that is pretty old for a wood frame. Actually, that's very old. I just I'm doing a project now, and it was built in 1970, and half of it was wood frame, and I grossly underestimated the termite damage that was in it. This could definitely be similar. But if you go in there and the frame's decent, then you can probably work with it. I'll have to go in there and see. So, okay, we've got beds. It's probably good to actually do this out manually like this anyways, because then you can kind of like, I can talk about the different things. Okay, so it's stucco on wood frame. Okay, so it does have the heated square feet at 2,000. And let's see. Total land units 7,500. The way that they do this is that is basically square feet, and there's around 43,000 square feet in an acre. So I think it's 43.3. So if we divide 7,500 divided by 43.3, you got 0.17. It's like a decent lot. I mean, it's okay. It's not huge. All right, so all right, now we're going to just jump into the comps of what we think we might be able to sell this for fixed up. Now, we don't know the rehab costs. We're actually going to do that second, but let's just jump into the comps. And people do comps a lot of different ways, but this is just how I do them. I mean, everyone's. I mean, there's no like one answer. You know, I mean, the comps are very, very subjective. I mean, there might be some methodology that people use, and I think there's general methodologies, but I kind of like to look at everything because I think everything's important. Like, if there's properties that were withdrawn or temporarily off market just because they didn't sell or they're canceled, or I want to know if there's pending properties. I want to know if there's a lot of active properties. I want to know all the sold properties. So like I take all the data into consideration. I think if you just go on sold, that doesn't give you the whole picture. And someone could probably argue to me or argue that point and say, well, sold is the only thing that matters because it's the only thing that's real. Well, yeah, but if you're not looking at active properties, what if there's 5 active properties right near yours? That reduces the value because you're competing with them. You need to know who you're competing against, and you need to know what the sold is. So I look at all the data. So let's get in there. Start at 180, and then if there's not enough data, we will increase that number. That's 180 days from today into the past. All right. So we've got a ton of, there's 5,000 plus. We're going to start off in the map. Okay, here we go. Oh, I can just put the address in. Duh. So once you've got that all set, luckily they have this address feature, so we're going to go right here. Okay, so there's not a lot of data, and I can already tell you this isn't enough for me to really get a good understanding. So I want to actually go back to criteria, and I'm going to blow this out to like 300 and see what that gives me. Now, a note on that. The accuracy of time depends on what the market has been doing in that amount of time. From, let's say, 2011 to 2016, the market was just like increasing. So the further you, if you were doing a comp in 2015 and you were going a year back, it's going to be, the further you go back, it's going to be less relevant because there was a lot of changes. Right now, I feel like it's okay to actually go back a little bit because we've sort of been sputtering out a little bit. Yes, the prices have kind of been going up a little bit, but it's been a little bit equal. Like the prices are still increasing a little bit, but it's been topping off a little bit. So I feel confident with kind of like looking a year back, honestly. And if anything, a year back at this point might even be even more expensive. So we're going to go back to the map, and still nothing. So there's not a lot of data. This is the active subject property. Let's see what this one was. Okay, canceled. So this is kind of important. This is 2 houses down. It was only on the market for 3 days. It's a nice little property. List price 140. Oh geez. Okay, so this is your competition. Honestly, it's really nice. That kind of makes me nervous because it is a beautiful property. I mean, this is a nice property. There's nothing wrong with this. It's an interesting shower. Oh, it's a nice job. Roof might need to be replaced. Maybe that's why they couldn't sell it. Let's see what it says. No realtor remarks. LP 111 per square foot. Well, this doesn't give us a lot of information because they put it in the market and immediately took it off. Looks like almost a full rehab. I wish I knew why they would take it off the market. I'm almost interested in calling them, Patricia, just to see. Maybe she might tell you why they took it off the market. They might be like, oh, they couldn't close because they need a new roof, or they just wanted to hold on to it. But that kind of makes me nervous because 140, if they have a sell price of 111, that doesn't leave us a lot of room for the rehab. We will get into those numbers in a little bit, but and actually, how big was that one? It's a 3-1 quarter acre. It's got a bigger lot. It's a lot smaller though. Okay, let's see what else is here. There was a 3-2. Okay, I saw this one. 3-2 sold for $134 per square foot, which is pretty good. And it sold immediately, which is nice. It's a 3, 1.5, which is basically what our property is going to be because, okay, this is a 2-2, but honestly, with 2,000 square feet, I'm going to fit an extra room in there somehow. Okay, all I got to do is subdivide something or rearrange the there's plenty of room. Like I've seen 3-1s and 4-1s in 1,000 square feet. So for a 2-2, you could easily add another room in here. Okay, that's not a problem. So we can come in at a 3-2 and maybe even make a note on that. So like rehab plan. Like I would base this 3-2 off of, is it feasible? Heated square feet 3-2. You could like literally do a 4-2 in 2,000 square feet, but I would just bump it up to 3-2 easily because like I would just do that. So I probably shouldn't be showing you my email. All right. I'm a little all over the place. Sorry. So the comps, I mean, you're gonna, based on how much data you're gonna get, that's how you're gonna do your comps. We don't have a lot of data here, so I'm looking at what we do have very deeply. Um, this thing is kind of cool that they built. Like, honestly, you can build this yourself. Doesn't even require a permit. Like, look, they just bought 2x4s and they probably ordered this thing online for like $300, and it looks nice. Like, this is really smart. Like for $600, or do it yourself with like a few guys. Like, this is a nice touch, and this is a decent house. Nice little kitchen. Everything's ready. Like a nice coloring that they did. It's got the uh, old, what do you call it? Old barn style. Look, they did another one back here. They replanted grass. It's a cool little property. So I can see why they would get 130 per square foot, which is a good sign for us. I want more data, so we're gonna really stretch this out. Now this is kind of going on a stretch. 600 days ago might not give us the best picture, but in this extreme circumstances, I just really need to look at some more data here. Okay, so now there's a few extras, but if you notice, so this one sold. Oh, that was the canceled one. Oh, this one has a history. Oh boy. Look at that. They bought this one as a 2-1. They turned it into a 3-1, and they bought it for 80. Cash only. So as you can see, oh man, look at that. Cash only. That house wasn't even that bad, and it was sat on the market for a while. See, yeah, this area might be a little bit dangerous. Because this thing sat on the market for a while, and it was a deal. Might not have enough buyers in this area, to be honest. Maybe that's the part of the learning experience, is just this isn't where you want to be. These things are selling cheap. 8 square feet. So these people, sorry, I'm just kind of like trying to digest this, and I know for a video it's kind of like waste of your time or whatever, but I mean, it's all subjective, and I'm really thinking about this, how I would rate this. Um, this is a little bit harder than, so you can actually close these off. You can go like that. We can look at it from like a data standpoint of just the solds. These are all over the place. Look at this. We've got well, they are selling. Cash offer, cash offer. Took a while. We've got an FHA at 134, and then we've got a conventional loan. Let's see this one. Whoa, this one's nice. Wow, look at this. Jeez. Well, I don't think ours is going to look quite like that. What a cool house. It's actually kind of small. So ours is bigger. Let's see. That one's a little bit different. I would definitely, so we're looking for a range here. I would definitely not put mine at 166 selling price because they've got that triple garage thing. I don't even know if I'd put mine at 134. I'm thinking $100 per square foot, less than 100, because this is a smaller house and there's a curve. I'd have to do a separate video on explaining you the curve, but like if you have two equal houses but one is smaller, the dollar per square foot is going to be higher on the smaller one because you're including the lot value and other things. So we wouldn't get this 134. So now we're looking at these cash offers. So let's run some numbers here. If we have let's run some numbers. So what's potential dollar per square foot? So if we sold this thing at $70 per square foot, what does that look like? So we've got this times $70 per square foot, 141,000. Can we do better than that? I would hope so. Because we've got two cash offers, one at 52 and one at 63. I don't think we're going to hit necessarily 100. Let's take a look at this one. This was canceled. Okay, so it's pretty big. They listed it for $84 per square foot, and it sat on the market. So when we're finished, ours might look better than this, but I mean, honestly, they've got a new tin roof on there. And yeah, it's like the pictures suck, and like they've got like the shitty wall coloring and all it's like outdated, but it didn't sell. It sat on the market for a long time at 84 per square foot. That scares me. Listed in 2018. So what that tells me is, this is why I like to look at all the data. If this one did not sell at $84 per square foot, and our property is going to have a nicer condition than this and look better, then ours should sell at around this price. So I am thinking that 80, something like $80 per square foot is what I can get for the property. That's what I think I'm gonna a sell value of 162. $80 per square foot, 160. Around there. And then you kind of go back and like, does that sort of meet this criteria? And you've got cash offers. I would say, do you know what? Let's be conservative and let's bring it down to 75. All right, so we've got a max sell value of 150, 151. And you never know, maybe you can get even more, but it looks like there's not a large buyer pool in that area, so you're really going to have to attract a lower value. So there's still some spread here, not a lot, but then again, he's been sitting on the market. So now we're going to just we're going to work our way backwards pretty simply. Let's talk about fees. Okay. So I've already got all this stuff figured out. I did this for every single auction property on Auction Tumbler. But this property is not an Auction Tumbler because it's not an auction. But I've got this workflow system set up already. And we're not going to be able to use this tool directly in here, but I do have this fee set up that I said. You can use this if you are looking for properties on auction. Like, this is the way to do it. And then if you're a member, you can use this tool in the bottom. But we're going to just grab that number. And you probably can't read this, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. You probably still can't read it. All right. And what this says is all right, here's my fee calculation. This is the way that I see this. We're gonna work our way backwards with all the fees and all the rehab costs and stuff like that. Okay, so when you buy the property, you're gonna spend about 2%, about 1.7% in doc stamps just to even buy it, and then all the fees. Okay, and then when you go to sell the property, you're going to spend another 2.5 to 3.5 for the buyer agent, and then I happen to be an agent myself, so I still recoup that money, but you still want to add it in anyways, because you might not be an agent. So I feel like the agents are willing to work. If you call up a few agents and be like, hey, I got a listing, I only want to pay 2.75%, they'll probably take it. Agents are hungry, and it's still money in their pockets, so they'll still do it. It's easy work. All right, so you've got money that you need to spend when you buy the property. You've got 2 agent fees when you sell it. You also have the closing fees, which comes out to like almost 2%. Now that includes the title fees and all the other crap that comes into it. So I basically give it like a 9.6% reduction. And you're saying, okay, well, William, the acquisition fees are less because you're only buying it for less than you're selling it. And yes, that's true. If you really want to get granular with it, you could do a whole other Google sheet to accurately do that. And on larger deals, I will find the exact amount of what it will cost to buy the property and sell the property. And for a smaller deal like this, if I'm off by 0.25%, that's fine. The main point here is that you need to add in some fee structure. Okay, so we are going to take this minus Actually, we're just going to do that times 0.096. And yes, that is $14,000 in fees. It is very expensive to actually acquire and sell properties. All right. Rehab. We know nothing about this property, but I did call her and she said that the floors are messed up and that there is possible foundation issues. Now, there probably isn't actual foundation issues. We'll know that when we go look at it. But the pictures, we didn't even look at the pictures. I didn't even show you the pictures yet. So now that we're going into this, we're going to look at these pictures. Okay, here we go. We're going to go inside the property. How much is this rehab? Probably need the new roof. This is kind of weird that this is dipping down. I don't like that. I have to paint the whole outside because the outside is just an ugly color. Do we need new windows? Windows, we could probably get away with windows. Okay, so we need a few thousand for, I don't know why they have an AC unit here when they have, or a window shaker when they have this AC unit, but we'll find out. So, okay, on this stuff, this actually isn't that bad. Like, the house isn't trashed. Like, it just needs to be painted. This is an ugly color. I don't know. This tile is from, like, the 60s. You might be able to just get away with, like, covering this and then maybe retiling, but this tile is probably fine. I would probably even just leave the tile, to be honest. I would probably just paint this thing, take out these chandeliers, and just maybe even paint the railings. And, like, this thing could look, like, totally different. I would probably leave these floors. It's not even that bad. Take out the window shaker. Property's not in the worst condition. Kitchen's not that bad. Repaint. I would probably repaint the color. I would just do small touch-ups. Like, honestly, like, this property doesn't look that bad to me. I don't know what's going on with the backyard, but okay. Doesn't look that bad to me. I would still put like a 20K rehab. It still is gonna cost a lot of money. All right. Even if you're just doing painting and small touch-ups, that's like 10 grand, and then I'm just adding another 10 grand for miscellaneous crap that you're probably gonna run into. All right, and then we want our profit. How much profit do we want to make on this? Well, that depends on how much money you want to make on this and your risk, but I will tell you that this is a smaller deal. Some people calculate their profit based on the purchase price, and they just do a flat percentage of like 18% or something. That's not how I do it. I like to just make a certain amount of money and a minimum amount of money, because I'm not going to do a deal that's only has like $5,000 profit, even if the numbers, even if it's 18%. So like, to me, like, if I make, if everyone, if the rehabber is doing all the work and I'm doing minimal, if I'm doing minimal work on this property, like I'm literally just buying it, the rehabbers are going to do all the work, and then like I'm just, I'm managing the project from my computer. Well, it's not that bad, and if you get a lot of these going, then you're doing okay. If I pull out a $15,000 profit on this property, I'm happy. I would be okay with that. Now, you want to increase that because there's always more costs. So I would say $22,000 profit, let's just say. Okay. And then you're just going to calculate your max offer. It's going to be somewhere within here. So you're just going to take your sell value minus these costs, minus this, minus that, minus that. And there's your max offer, assuming that this is all correct. So here's your fees, here's your rehab, here's your profit. Max offer is 94,000, and that's not actually that far away from this 115. If you want, you can even be more conservative. You can even try to add in a little bit more rehab just in case. And if you this deal is feasible, if you can sell it for 150, which might be able to. I mean, it's a huge house, and if it looks nice when it's done, you have to look for termites and stuff. Yeah. So I mean, let's say you did a 90,000 cash offer and they accepted. I mean, you might be able to flip this one for like and everything. You know, if everything went according to plan, you only spent 20 grand, and you can pull out a $20,000 profit because you've already put your fees in here of 14 grand, and that's even including the seller agent fee. I would actually recoup another. I am the agent, so I would recoup even some additional money. So this is the initial step. And that's all this video is like initial, you know, what am I looking at? Does this even make sense to even go look at? And I would say yes, because this max offer is within range of the asking price, you know, and the ADOM is huge. So like, if you run these numbers and the max offer is higher than the asking, then you know you probably don't even want to look at it. It's probably just I mean, you run the numbers and you might or sorry, I totally reversed that. If the max offer is way lower than the asking price, then you might not want to look at it because they probably won't even accept it. Although with almost all of these deals, you can pretty much get out of any deal using the far bar as is, because you can just kind of like, you can just say within those contracts, it's the whole deal is contingent on you being happy with the condition of the property. So as long as you add that in there, you can make a shitload of offers, and that's honestly probably what I'll do on this one. I'm probably just going to make a lowball offer. Oh, here's another thing to add: dollar per square foot acquisition. So you're going to take that number, divide it by the heated square feet, and it's at $44 per square foot cash. And then you're also going to go back here and you're going to make sure that that is in conjunction with everything else that's happening. And it is, because it's below these two cash offers. So your numbers are within reason, and these were both in 2019. So your cash offer dollar per square foot is lower than the other cash buyers that were in the area. So yeah, so that also meets the criteria. If their dollar per square foot cash offer acquisition is higher than the other cash offers, then that is reason to be nervous or step away or lower your cash offer. Okay, so that's it for this video. We will continue to do some other videos, and maybe I'll even do some more videos on this exact property. Maybe even talk about next step. I'll do a next video on what happens, whether I buy it and everything else. We'll see. Talk to you soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a lot. I know it was a little bit long. I know it was a little bit unprepared in certain areas, but I think in general, just actually stepping through everything will probably be more beneficial for you. So thank you, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.